Hey kids, what time is it?
Time for Gezintahait Street!
It's time for Gezintahait Street. Welcome everybody. The story tonight is entitled Angelic Candy. The previous Rebbe once told a story about his father's first day in preschool in Chayei. The boy's grandfather, the Rebbe the Tzemach Tzedek, showered him with candies and told him they had been thrown by the angel Chayei. Those candies were so precious to the young Rashab that he didn't eat them. Imagine, you're talking a 4-year-old or 5-year-old kid. He didn't eat the candies. Finally, when the adults searched his room for chametz before Pesach, they found the treats intact in a pocket in the closet. The Tzemach Tzedek told the boy, "Here are the candies. You should eat them." That's the story. Our Rebbe explains that in essence, the candies had been thrown by the angel Chayei. He is the angel who recounts the merits of the Jewish people. The father and the teacher, the Rebbe says, are merely agents of that angel. Therefore, when they throw those candies, they are serving as Michael's representatives. We tell this to a child rather than an adult, because an adult finds it difficult to accept the truth, because he knows where the candies came from using his intellect. A child doesn't. He doesn't know where they came from, so he or she is able to accept the essential truth that those candies really come from the angel Chayei. Now we can understand, the Rebbe says, why we teach a child using terminology such as the hand of Hashem, the eyes of Hashem, etc. Even though Hashem has no physical form, these descriptions are not false. Rather, the hand and the eye and the rest of the body are symbols that portray how Hashem manifests himself in the world. We say the hand of Hashem, the right hand of Hashem, symbolizes the godly kindness. This month is the month of Cheshbon, which Cheshbon means to make an accounting. And this week, Parshas Chayei Sara, we're going to bless the new month of Kislev. And the month of Kislev has a lot of great Jewish celebrations. Judaism is very rich. And the month of Kislev contains a lot of that richness. Try to go to shul this Shabbos and bless the new month. The new month contains a good few Hasidic holidays and also the holiday of Hanukkah. Be part of it. By being part of it, you'll give Hashem nachas. As we've said before, and it's axiomatic in Jewish mysticism, that there are 10 spheros, 10 godly attributes, and 4 worlds. Hashem is infinitely elevated and exalted above intellect. Nevertheless, he's unified with the spheros of Atzilus. these four letters, which make up the Shem Havaya, is a symbol of the world of Atzilus. As we've said, the Yud symbolizes wisdom of the world of Atzilus, and the Hey, understanding in the world of Atzilus, and the Vav, the emotion attributes in the world of Atzilus, and the Hey, thought and speech in the world of Atzilus, which the world of Atzilus is completely unified with Hashem. So on one hand, Hashem is much higher than intellect, and these four start with intellect. On the other hand, he's completely unified in the world of Atzilus in these four. However, intellectual means are inadequate to grasp his absolute union with those spirits in the world of Atzilus. He's absolutely unified with them, but intellect cannot comprehend how that's possible, because Hashem is exalted higher than intellect. Therefore, the Zohar terms these 10 divine attributes the secret of faith, the Raza Dehanusa, something like that. It means the secret of faith. Why? Because we're supposed to have faith that Hashem could be unified in these attributes over which he's very exalted. And we're going to explain or see how Chassidus explains how that's possible. Since the divine attributes of the world of Atzilus transcend human intellect, like it says, he's wise, but not with the knowable wisdom. So how and why do we name these attributes according to human attributes? After all, there's wisdom, understanding, emotions, thought, and speech. They're human attributes. So how do we give these human attributes for the world of Atzilus, which is much, much more elevated than humanity and any kind of human intellect? However, we can connect to, and we can understand, to a limited smidgen at least, the divine workings through the working of our own psychology, our intellect and emotions. Like it says, from my flesh I will know God. Therefore, permission was given to the sages of Kabbalah to use human psychology as a metaphor for a godly dynamic of how Hashem, who's higher and removed from many attributes, Hashem himself has no attributes and he's higher and removed from them in an incomprehensible way, how he is unified with these spirits which are attributes in the world of itself. That his right arm is kindness, symbolizes he doesn't have an arm, he doesn't have the shape of a body, but we give Hashem an arm. The prophets see a vision of a man on the throne. And the example is, when we say a right arm, it symbolizes Hashem's attribute of kindness. When we say Hashem has an intellect, has a brain, that means Hashem's wisdom, which is not knowable, is symbolized by that head, by that brain. The metaphor of human psychology is only an example for us to have some idea, but it can't be compared to the actual working and unity of Hashem in his 10 attributes. So it's kind of a frustrating thing. Hashem has 10 attributes through which he wants to connect with us. On the other hand, there's no way for us to understand those attributes or comprehend them. There's another metaphor which allows us to approach understanding Hashem's unification with the 10 spirits, and that metaphor is how the ray of the sun is completely nullified and non-existent in the flame of the sun. until it doesn't exist there at all. But even that metaphor, which tells us something of how it is that Hashem can be unified with that spheros, even though they don't really exist separate from Him, is incomparable to the non-existence of the spheros as they're nullified in the infinite light. After all, the sun and its ray are limited creations, while the spheros, and of course their emanator, are infinite. The analogy of the sun and its ray refers only to the manner in which the sun's rays are united with the sun itself. How the rays are united in the flame of the sun. And this analogy makes it easier for us to comprehend the unity of the spheros in their source, in Hashem. The Kabbalists called the spheros the divine attributes, they called them lights, to let us know that just as a light in its source is completely unified with the source of light and doesn't exist for itself, so too these lights, which is the attributes of the world of Atzilus, do not exist separate from Hashem. And this metaphor of the ray of the sun and the sun communicates that dynamic to us in a small measure. Similar to the way the sun is a luminary, is a lamp, is a source of light, for light that will be emitted from it. But that light takes no place and existence inside the sun itself, like we said. The ray is called a light, like a light emitted from a lamp. When the light is within its source in the orb of the sun, it's completely united in an absolute unity with the sun itself. So too the spheres of Atzilus, before they become revealed, are completely unified in Hashem. So in the sun, the light will be emitted later is completely unified with the luminary, and since it's completely unified, it's non-existent as a separate entity, like the ray and the flame. And precisely in this manner, and even more so, is the unity of the attributes of the Holy One, blessed be He, and His will and His wisdom in the world of Atzilus with His essence and being. And He becomes clothed in these attributes, which are called the spheros of Atzilus, the godly attributes, and He's enclosed them and unified with them in a perfect unity. And since they derived and emanated from Him, just as by way of analogy, light is diffused from the sun. However, Hashem's unity with His attributes is not exactly the same as the ray of the sun and the sun. It's completely different, and it's remote and concealed from our comprehension. For His ways are higher than our ways. Isn't that right, Marvin? Marvin, I'm glad you have someplace to come on Thursday night.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me fix it like a stick in my hand. Come on, stick. Ah, there we go.
Marvin, what would you do without us?
I gotta tell you something, Sara. If I was the one who would have gotten the candy, even now in my old age, I would have eaten it. I would have saved it. Then, just when I was almost finished eating it, I would smash it in the floor, and then I would blame somebody else for it.
Marvin, you're a smart guy.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
You're a real wise guy.
Oh, thank you. Wait, was that a compliment? I'm not sure. Anyway, how about a joke song?
Let's have a joke.
All right. Hang on a second.
I'm not exactly which song that we should have tonight. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know why I'm thinking of this one. but let's give it a try. On Yisro we'll have no fear, Moshiach will be here. We want Mashiach.
We got
want
Martin for that one.
We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. We want Mashiach.
We want Mashiach now!
We want Mashiach
Now!
We want Mashiach.
Now!
We don't want to wait.
Yeah!
Yeah, 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 ma, 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 hey, yeah, 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 ma, ma, yeah, 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 oh, yeah, 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 yeah. We want Mashiach
Now! Now!
We want Mashiach
Now!
We don't want to wait.
Hey! That was a nice one to pull out of your hat, Sally.
Yossi Piamento and his brother used to play that for bring-ins at 770. Electrified.
Well,
It was
I
pretty
like those guys. They were very rock and roll.
very cool.
Coochie coo.
Huh?
Coochie coo. He said
It's a
coochie coo.
rock and roll coochie coo.
The book that we use for our anchor book on this show is called The Essence of Chassidus. And that sikha, that talk by the Rebbe, that Essence of Chassidus, was delivered by the Rebbe on Yutes Kislev, which is coming up in the next month, which was the day when the Alter Rebbe got out of jail. And it contains a lot of this explanation. The Orient Sof, the unlimited light, is unlimited. Why is it unlimited? It's a ray or an outflow from the infinite one, Hashem. And as Hashem is infinite, when he reveals a light, like when the sun sends out a ray, but the ray that comes out from Hashem is unlimited. And to describe Hashem as infinite is really putting a limitation on him. He's more than infinite. When you say he's infinite, it doesn't tell you he has the power to contract his unlimitedness. And also unlimited indicates a beginning from which there is an unlimited outspring. But Hashem also has no beginning. He just chose to reveal his aspect of infinitude, and that revelation we call the infinite light. Creations are limited. Therefore, they're incomparable to that unlimited light. The hosts of the heavens, even taking into consideration their vast multiplicity, their size, 100 billion stars are in just one galaxy. And there's probably 100 billion galaxies. And all those galaxies are insignificant compared to the whole span of space. Nevertheless, there's so many of them, nevertheless, there's a limited number. Whether billions, zillions, or quadrillions, they're contained by a number. They're limited. And even if every molecule and atom in that vast array of all those trillions of stars, even if every atom and molecule was counted, there is still a number for them. It's a limitation. Time is also numbered. Our sages say from heaven to earth is a journey of 500 years. And between every heaven is a measure of 500 years to the next heaven. And they're all contained in the feet of the angels. A thing that's created, a thing that's not Hashem, necessarily has a measure and a limit. It's contained by a number. Though Ein Sof, the unlimited light, on the other hand, like its name says, is completely unlimited. And limited cannot be compared to infinite. For example, 1 compared to 1,000,000 is 1 part of 1,000,000. And without it, the million isn't a million anymore. So even though the creations may be uncountable, one level higher than the next, they're still limited. They're still contained by a number. And they can be compared one to the other like 1,000,000 to 1. So, since limited and unlimited are incomparable, they need a connector to come together so that limited, the separate worlds, can be brought into being. How is it that an unlimited could create a limited? And that's one of the questions that the Greek philosophers asked the Jewish sages. How is it possible from an unlimited to create a limited? That's because they think that unlimited means you're stuck in being unlimited, but Hashem is not stuck in that. He can be limited if he wants. And so the Ein Sof, the unlimited light, and the Ein Sof himself, Hashem, can be revealed in the world as our king. And how does that happen? Through the sphere of Malchus, through Hashem's thought and speech. Wisdom, understanding, and godly emotions are completely higher than space and time, completely higher than worlds. They're unlimited. They're angels. Malchus is also higher than worlds and higher than limitation, but it is the source of space and time. It's the source of the creation of the worlds. So the connector between unlimited and limited is this sphere of the godly attribute called Malchus, which means royalty, which means kingship. Explaining the Kabbalah interpretation of Modeh Ani, remember when we wake up in the morning we thank Hashem for our soul. And in that little sentence that we say, it says that Hashem is a living and eternal king. So the king part is this sphere of Malchus, and living and eternal is the higher spheres, which are unlimited. And Malchus is able to take two separate things, and they can be connected through this connector of Malchus. Like we said, the Yud and the Hey and the Vav, the first three letters, are higher than space and time. How can they be connected to limited space and time? Through Malchus, which even though it's higher than space and time, it's connected to them by being their source. Because after all, Malchus creates those worlds where there's space and time. The aspect of royalty, Hashem's kingship. Hashem creates everything through this attribute of Malchus, through his speech, like when he says, "Let there be light," and there was light. Those words, "Let there be light," is expression of the godly, unlimited emotional attributes. But they come down into Malchus as thought and speech. So Hashem expresses his godly attributes of kindness through that thought and speech of Malchus, where it comes out to be a sentence, "Let there be light." And those letters, "Let there be light," is what creates light in the world. And now, I think we're going to have a musical poem from
Great.
the great Jewish
And
poet,
famous.
the great and famous Jewish poet, I.
All right. Ready, Oishi? What's in the song? Going on a journey, try to find
I calls him like I sees him, that was groovy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take a look at Malchus. Let's take a closer look. Again, Malchus is the final hay of the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, and it corresponds and symbolizes Hashem's thought and speech, which thought and speech is an expression of the emotions. Malchus is different from the other spirits. It's different from the other godly attributes. Malchus has nothing for itself. Zer Anpin, which is symbolized by the Vav, the godly emotion attributes, is metaphorically like the sun. The sun shines with its own light. So too these attributes shine with the godly light. A moon reflects the light of the sun. It has nothing for itself. The only way it can shine is if the light of the sun is shining on it. So Malchus has nothing for itself. When Hashem says, when it says in the Torah, let there be light, it's an expression through godly speech, which is Malchus, of the godly emotion, attribute of kindness. Malchus has, again, nothing for itself, like the moon has to receive the light from the sun to be able to shine. But different from the moon, Malchus also receives not just from that godly sun of Zer Anpin, but also from the rebounded light of the feminine waters which come up from our service below. Hashem is not a king without us as his people. Malchus is essentially the infinite one, Hashem, taking a passive role. We make Hashem our king and our ruler on Rosh Hashanah. And we make that rulership manifest day by day through saying letters of prayer, letters of Torah learning, and accomplishing the mitzvahs through action. When is he great? It says, when he's in the city of our God. Letters are described as stones. They're passive, they're inert. They don't grow bigger, they don't grow smaller. They always stay the same. Unlike emotions, which grow. As the person gets older, his emotions become more mature. Or vegetative growth, like trees that grow. Letters don't grow, they're like stones. And many stones make a house. A lot of Torah learning and davening and mitzvahs make a house. And many houses make a great city. When is he great? When he's in the city of our God. And these houses and this great city are built through our service. That's what it says. Malchus has nothing for itself. In order for Hashem to rule and be the king, we have to do his will. Like we said before, an example is the effect of and on Malchus when we serve Hashem, when we do his will, the will of the king, by giving tzedakah. I don't know what happened. I usually have a pushka that I can put some tzedakah in. But everybody understands what charity is. And when we give somebody in need with a happy face and encouragement, or we give to a worthy institution, that brings out the kingship of Hashem. He's truly our king then, and it becomes revealed. This is the month of Cheshbon, and Cheshbon means a reckoning or an accounting. The place of reckoning is Malchus. Why is the place of reckoning Malchus? Because Malchus is the source of space and time. And in order to have a reckoning and accounting, you have to have a limited existence. And the source of limitation is Malchus. And this month is the month of Cheshbon, the month of reckoning. For reckoning is possible only with entities which are finite and divisible, and Malchus is the source of all finite and divisible created beings. After all, speech of Hashem that creates separate and limited creatures. It says, your eyes, this is the Jews talking to Hashem, your eyes are wells in Cheshbon. Since a well or a pool is a receptor for water that flows into it, well serves as a term for Malchus, because Malchus, as we said, has nothing for itself. It's the feminine attribute of Hashem. It receives the downflow from the godly emotion attributes, the life force from the higher spirits, and that word cheshbon, which means an accounting, is a biblical place name, but on the non-literal level, it's understood in its dictionary meaning, which means an accounting, a reckoning. The allusion to this verse thus reinforces the identity of the concept of reckoning with the spira of Malchus. Like it's known, the meaning of the above statement is that as a result of an arousal from below, what we do, the provision of the means for life, grace, and kindness that we do an act of charity with goodwill and a friendly countenance, there is elicited an arousal from above, so that Hashem will make his countenance shine forth on us with a radiation and a downflow of grace, kindness, and supreme favor. Therefore, we're going to give tzedakah, and we're going to arouse Hashem to come through his attribute of Malchus to make the decrees that the godly light and radiation should shine on us. And it should come from the fountainhead of life, which is Hashem himself, whose greatness is unfathomable and utterly incomprehensible in terms of the limited. Two, finally, the level of divinity which is connected to limited, which is Malchus. And like it says, your kingdom, your kingship is a kingship of all worlds. It is the source of limitation to the revealed worlds of manifestation. And the spirit of Malchus animates all the created beings that are in all the upper and lower chambers, which are all subject to counting and a reckoning. The level of Malchus is what enlivens them. Like it says, 1,000 thousands of angels minister to you. And it's a great number. It's a cheshbon godel, a great accounting. And giving in tzedakah with a good will and a friendly face marries the infinite power of the great counting, meaning Hashem who's higher than counting, with the finite framework of cheshbon, of a reckoning down here. So when we do that act, we are connecting the level of Malchus, which is our source, and bringing down from the level of the infinite, Malchus being the source of all finite created beings. This then is the meaning where it says a great amount, a cheshbon godel. By the numerous acts of charity down here bring about peace, like it's written, and the reward for the act of tzedakah will be peace. And what does peace mean? What is shalom? It's the connection of two opposites. It's a connection of the infinite Hashem to our limited world. In our context, where we're connecting Malchus with tzedakah, we connect Malchus with learning Torah or with davening, but here we're connecting with giving tzedakah. There is the extremity of the superior heaven, where it says, and his greatness is unfathomable, the infinite level, referring to Hashem's incomprehensible infinitude. And the extremity of the inferior heaven refers to this level of Malchus, which is the lowest of the 10 spirits. You see here, it's at the end. We go from right to left. And that Malchus becomes vested in the worlds of Bri, Yetzir, and Asiya, in our worlds, in a category of finitude and number, causing the infinite one to be unified with us and our world, and pretty soon we'll see it manifest not only the infinite aspect of Hashem, but Hashem himself, which is higher than infinity, higher than limits, and higher than unlimits. Hashem himself will be here with us. He'll have us dance in a circle. We'll point with our finger and say, there's Hashem. And our mouth will be filled with laughter. Do we have a niggun to go out with?
First, we got the 3,000-year-old puppet.
Oh,
this
how
puppets!
How could I forget the part and the 3,000-year-old puppet? Oy.
And the mic, don't forget the mic.
I thought I took it off. Okay. Oh, this is great. Whoop. Thanks.
Keep in mind, it's
Great
already.
job.
Matter of fact, it's a guess. All right. Welcome once again to the Jewish Experience portion of the program where we talk about the Parsha of the week. The Parsha this week is Chayei Sara. And the fascinating thing about Chayei Sara is the reason it's called Chayei Sara. Sarah passed away. How can you call it Chayei that she lived? Because her life was perfect. That's why it says she lived 127, because each one of these sections of her life was just the same as all the others. They were all equal. And it was a kind of an incredible thing in itself. Chayei Sara's service to the ages. So, of course, what we have with us today also is the 3,000-year-old puppet. And what's amazing about this guy is he was there. And he saw it all, he met it all, and he's going to be here to talk about it. So here he is.
Hoishi! How are you, Hoishi?
Another
It's so good to see
exciting
you.
show. Appreciate you
Oh,
coming
very
by.
exciting.
You haven't looked like you aged a day.
No, because I ate 7 days in the meanwhile.
That's right. So you look good, though.
Thank you. You look good too, Hoishi.
I appreciate it.
Oh, you
Hey,
anyway.
let's put the cheeks
Oh,
over here with
yeah,
the
thank
cheeks.
you,
Let's
thank
put the
you.
cheeks.
Anyways, this
Anyway.
Moshe, oh, it doesn't sound so happy. Sara passed away. Oh, we cried. I had gone out
That's
after.
rough stuff. I
You know, this was right after the Akedah, right after Abraham took
You have to
Yitzchak.
go be Menachem Avos.
Yeah, and it says take Yitzchak and go slaughter him. Of course, we know that didn't happen.
We didn't actually say slaughter. We said offer
He's
him up.
offer him for an offering. Abraham
Right.
said, "Good, I will make a burnt offering."
Right.
So, anyways, so what happens was, as we're coming back, we find out. I didn't go all the way there. I only heard about it.
Yeah, right.
I was waiting with me and Yishmael.
Right.
He was waiting there
Well,
for
he
him to
told
come
you.
back. He said,
Yeah, he
"Wait,
told
wait
you.
for us."
Right.
So I listened. He said, "Wait." So he was waiting, and he come back, and then we go home. We go home and what we find out that Sara passed
She
away.
was blown away because she thought their son, their only son.
Well, you know, the Satan came.
Right, I know.
And he told her, oh, do you know where Avram went? And he showed her a vision of
He
this.
showed her the whole thing.
And
You can't take
then,
the
when
son
she
anywhere.
found out that, oh, you can't take him anywhere.
It's a real
That's Marvin. Oh,
Right.
that's Marvin. Can't take him anywhere. Oh, he went and showed Sarah the thing. And
Right.
to be fair, it was his job.
And that was
Anyways, so and then when she found out that he lived, her house couldn't take it, and you know, and that was it, kaput. And Sarah, but we cried, and then Avram went to this used car salesman Ephraim, and he says, Ephraim, I need this piece of land in Hebron.
And they respected Avram, right? Because they told him he was such a great man. They said, listen, whatever you want, you got it.
He said, yeah, don't worry about the financing. Don't worry about your trading. She said, I don't want her anyways.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Abraham said, he said, no, you need to take some money.
Right.
And then this is the used car salesman. He's like, okay, fine, so give me 400 golds. By the way, this is like $5 million now the time. It's like, oh, okay, if you want to pay, I guess I'll take a token of appreciation, $5 million.
Yep.
Now, by the
Why
way,
did he want to pay for it? They said they would give it to him, but why do you want to pay for it?
well, he wanted to pay for it because you know now they're saying that Hebron, right, is theirs. Right? No, and you know there's trouble going on there. Which, by the way, all the trouble going on there, Abraham should have listened to the used car salesman. He should have got the warranty on that one, I think. But anyways, he paid for it because so that now what he's saying, no, this is lies. Abraham paid for this land. This is our land, this Hebron.
Right. Now
So
here's the thing. He gave him the deed. So you were there. Who's got the deed?
The deed, it's right here.
The Torah.
The Torah.
The Torah is the deed.
It says it right here.
Okay.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
It's recorded in this book, the Torah.
Okay, good. As long as you got it.
Anyways, so he takes this one, and by the way, this is also where Adam and Chava was buried also.
Right.
And now you know that Adam, they actually had to fold him up because he was folded in there because he was actually a very, very tall man.
Right.
Like a
There's
giant.
he's got crowds in there. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. Anyways, after this, he sends Avram tells Eliezer. He says, Eliezer, go 17 days away, right back in the old country. There is go to our family there and find a wife for my son Yitzchak.
Right.
That is suitable to be the mother of the Jewish nation. So Eliezer goes. By the way, this is supposed to be 17 days to take. It only took him 1 day.
Correct.
And this is because Hashem didn't want he should have to be punished to sit in a place of idol worship.
Correct.
Now, by the way, we pray to Hashem. In the meantime, Eliezer, he couldn't leave to stand there 17 days and be how many thousands and thousands of years in this exile. He should make it speedy for us also like this and take us out of the exile.
Amen.
Why should we be in this place of idol worship
There is
also?
no reason, right?
Anyways, so he goes and he finds Besuel, right? And he finds, this is the...
Wait a minute, you got to talk about what happened at the well.
Oh, well, first he goes to the well.
Right.
And at the well is Rivka there, the young girl.
Right.
And the young girl, she says, she says, can I have some water? And she says, not only for you and for the camel, but let me bring you more, and make sure that they're all good. And then only
what
then,
he said, he thought she would have to say to be qualified.
yeah, he said, Hashem, if you will show me a sign that she will say this. And of course, sure enough, the girl says that.
Exactly.
And he says, oh, we have a shidduch. So he goes to Besuel of Tati.
We have a winner.
Hold on a second, but first he gives her a lot of gifts.
Oh yeah, there's lots of gifts. And to Lavan also he gives gifts.
Because Abraham turned everything over to Yitzchak.
Yeah,
Everything he had.
and anyways, so he goes over there, and then Besuel died in this.
You know why he died?
Father.
Because he didn't want to go along with this.
I don't know. I just saw his cold body on the floor. I figured he was dead. I don't know why.
They took him out.
Why was it?
They took him out. Because what happened is they were actually trying to poison the guy, and it turned out around, the poison turned around and it got Besuel.
Yeah, and I heard also that part of this was that he was trying to oppose this marriage.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
the Eibishter took him out. It was like
A long walk on a
the
short
Eibishter, the
Right.
one above did a targeted assassination on this boy.
That's it.
And anyways, Lavan continued the thing, and finally they sent Rivka, and first they say, no, why don't you stay here until she's bigger? But you can't, but
You got to mention that Lavan ran to meet him. Why? Because he thought he was loaded. You know,
Yeah.
And he felt.
Oh, by the way, Eliezer was loaded. On the way there, we made the fuel of Chaim, but he wasn't
Right.
loaded the way Lavan thought he was loaded. Anyways, so Rivka come back with us. She's a beautiful little girl,
Right.
but Yitzchak would not marry her. You know that, not yet.
Right.
He went in there, which, by the way, this is one of the sources why it's important that the Jewish girls, right, even before they're married, should light candles. First of all, because lighting candles also, especially for sure for
Yeah,
married
right.
women, but even for girls,
Right.
it brings a light into this world and helps bring Mashiach closer.
Correct. I mean,
But
and the
also,
other thing you want
yeah.
to say is that he asked her to come, and she had to say, "I will go," because the woman has to express that she accepts the situation.
Anyways,
So she did that. It's very important because
well,
nobody would force. In fact, you know, they told her, Eliezer said, "We got to go now," and they turned to her and said, "Do you want to go?" And she says, "I will go." But they had to get her acceptance first, also.
yeah, so anyway, she come back with us, and Yitzchak wouldn't marry her yet until, and this is the thing, and this is how we see, this is a thing that goes back, that every Jewish girl can connect herself all the way back to Sara and Rivka,
Right.
because when she would light the candles, it happened that after a time she would light the candles, and it became like with Sara,
With
that the
Sarah.
candles would stay lit from Shabbos to Shabbos. And then he says, "Oh, this one now I see. This one is
Like his mother. So he was comforted.
righteous woman like
he
my
was
mother."
comforted for his mother. That was
Yeah.
the thing.
Because he saw, well, you know why? Because he saw that this was an ongoing thing of his mother.
Right.
Just like every Jewish girl now who lights candles on before Shabbos is also part of this same chain.
Big time.
Anyways, so they get married, and after this, Avram gets married.
Well, keep in mind that Hagar did cheat on her.
Yeah.
So she took a new name.
Yeah, and she was and Avram, yeah, and they had more children.
Right.
And then after that, Avram passed away, and then it talks about the Torah talks about Yishmael's descendants.
He did.
And
So
that's
he also did tshuva.
that's
That
the
came over
parsha.
him, and that's it.
That's the parsha. Hey,
And
Mordechai
Mordechai-
over there. What lifestyle? Are you ready to do one more right now?
Okay.
Hey, Mord, you ready to do one more right now?
Harris.
So we're gonna go back. Thank you very
Wait,
much.
do one more now?
We're gonna go.
Last one.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
Hey,
back to you,
with
Mitzvah.
Good. All right.
All right, we're gonna do. We're gonna do a niggin before we go out? Is that
Yeah. You want to?
Yeah, of course we want to.
Do it. Do it.
We got
I got the. Ooh,
You're not anymore.
I'm not anymore.
What the heck was that? The people must locker on the air.
All right, you ready for the last one here?
All right. Let's do it. Do it.
If that's fine.
Whatever it is.
Okay, we're gonna have another nigga.
All right.
So let's put this on back. Okay. Here we go.
Thanks, everybody, for coming to our Farbrengen. We'll see you again next week. We're going to have our sign-off song now. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.